get down here and get ya. Not too bad. Hey everybody, what is happening? So it has been forever since I last uploaded a video to YouTube. A lot of crazy happened in that time, so I really hope that you're all well and you're all safe. Well, here we all are again. I'm making this video for two very specific reasons. Firstly, I wanted to make this video to say thank you to everyone who has been visiting the channel and left comments even while I haven't been uploading any videos. I read them all, and one in particular referenced the community that we had built, the little community that we had built on our corner of the internet. And it really took me back to when I was regularly uploading videos and how much fun that I had doing that and leading our little community, and it got me to reflecting about the experience and everything. So I thought that I would break some of that down and share that with you guys, because I know many of you are creators yourselves or were thinking about creating your own channel. So I thought I would break down my 5 top tips for reaching 1,000 subscribers, and hopefully it will be informative or at least helpful, and if not, just a bit of fun. The way that I see this is that you have two key challenges to tackle in getting to 1,000 subscribers. Number one is you need to get people to come to your channel. They need to find out about who you are and what you're making, and come and visit. And number two is upon arrival, you need to get them to stick around, and that means you need to get them to subscribe. And so the way I'm breaking this video down, the first 4 tips will be about that second challenge, getting people to subscribe and stick around and stay at your channel after they have arrived. And my 5th and final tip will be about that first challenge. How do you get people to come to your channel in the first place? So here we go. Let's start with tip number 1. Work with what you have. That is that you shouldn't let the lack of equipment or the lack of production value for your content be a barrier to making something. If you have an SLR camera to hand, super. Use it, make your video. But if you don't, as most people don't, you'll most likely have one of these, and if you do, then you've got a camera that will get you something good enough. My first video was shot on my iPhone 6, which I think was HD. I'm pretty sure it was, but it was good enough. I had no lights, so I just stood next to a window, and it wasn't until my sort of 3rd or 4th video that I got a camera. I got some editing software, and I paid for some lights that were like $100 on eBay, super cheap. My first unaffiliated subscriber actually came from that video that I shot on my iPhone and uploaded. So a lot of people are going to be willing to take a risk on you as a creator and your content, even if it isn't up to scratch aesthetically. So that is tip number 1. And yes, that isn't telling you how to get your first subscriber, but I think it's, it doesn't need to be said. It's obvious, I'll say it anyway, that if you don't put a video out there, you're not going to get a subscriber. It's super unlikely that someone would subscribe to a channel with no videos. So work with what you have, get videos on there, and then you could start the work. So that's tip number 1. So tip number 2. And what I mean by backlog is trying to make content in advance for your audience, so you can, keep consistency up and hit them with loads of videos early on to try and attract people in. And actually, that's totally fine if you are really, really an amazing filmmaker and you have made content before and you know what your audience want. Backlogging content in that scenario is perfectly fine. But when you don't know quite what your audience wants because you don't have an audience, you don't know who they are, and you yourself aren't totally sure what sort of content you're going to create, what sort of creator you're going to be, don't backlog. Get your content out as quickly as possible. 80% is good enough, 50% is good enough. Getting that content out as quickly as possible allows you to see whether or not, if someone comes in and hits your channel, whether or not that person sticks around or not. So you've got the challenge of getting them to come and see your content, pushing out to them and sort of pulling them in. But when they see it, you'll have a better read of whether or not they like it. Imagine if you made 100 videos only to find out that, hey, you've made 100 things of something that nobody likes. That would be a really crushing blow. If you make one of something, get that out as quickly as possible and get people in to come and see it, you can find out really quickly whether or not they like it or not. If they like some stuff, you can double down on that and lean in harder to it. If they don't like things, then you can pull back and you can cut it out, change it, try a new thing and see what works. And they'll likely stick around if you listen to them and you respond to that stuff. That was another thing that I found, created stickiness amongst people coming to see the channel, was if you responded to feedback quickly. So that's tip number 2. Don't backlog. Get your content out as quickly as you possibly can, so that you can iterate. Tip number 3 is one that I think you will hear far and wide. Again, everyone will talk about this one. Everyone will say that this is true. And if I'm honest, this is probably the thing that I struggled with the most. It's super, super hard, especially if you have lots of stuff going on in your life as well. But this is consistency. So tip number 3 is consistency. Get your content out as regularly as you possibly can. Stick to your schedules. Make yourself, set yourself deadlines, set yourself goals, set yourself marks and hit them. It's really, really tough to do, especially taking into consideration my second tip, tip 2, which is don't backlog. That's the temptation and that's the trade-off. I think, you don't backlog, you're gonna make better content as you go. The trade-off is consistency is going to become harder. You spend 10 months thinking about, or 10 years thinking about the first YouTube video that you're gonna make, and the content that you're gonna put together. The moment you've made that, you're then, the clock's ticking. If you've set yourself, you want to upload weekly, you've then got to, think about the content for the second video, get that shot, get that edited, get that uploaded within the span of a week. And that can be, really, really challenging, really, really tough. But the benefits of consistency, people were stickier and they stuck around and they enjoyed, they stayed, they joined the community when they could see that there was a sense of momentum, something was going on. They came to the channel, there was a video last week, there was a video the week before, people were commenting out, talking about it, talking about the next episode and getting involved with the content. So there was something for them to get involved with and a community to be a part of. And that is super, super important and will help bring in subscribers and will help people stay at the channel and get involved. Obviously, I'm guilty of dropping the ball here by about, 2 years or so. Tip number 4 is respect the audience that you have. A good metaphor to describe this one is, imagine if you were giving a presentation and you were expecting 200 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, however many, and 5 turn up. Now, how would those 5 people feel if throughout the presentation, instead of giving them the respect that they deserve for, giving up their time and attention for you, if you were instead ignoring them and looking at the door the whole time and huffing and puffing because people hadn't arrived? Naturally, they'd be pissed. So would you, so would I. But how would those same people feel if instead you were super, super grateful for them to arrive and you paid them loads of attention and you delivered a presentation that was of the quality and brilliance of one worthy of an audience of 100,000 people, but focused and specialized just to the few people that did turn up? They would feel super valuable. They'd be more likely to stick around and they'd be more likely to go and tell other people to come and check out this great thing that they've found. So that is tip number 4. That is respect the audience you have, not the one that you're expecting. Okay, and tip number 5. Tip number 5 is truly engage with other communities. It may seem trivial, but it isn't. I think it's the most important part. If you're growing an audience from scratch without having any support whatsoever, outside of your friends, this is how you're going to get people to come and see your content, come and see your channel, without any help whatsoever. What this tip isn't, and what I'm not saying, is that you should go and promote your channel shamelessly. You cannot just go to another content creator's channel and promote your content or promote your channel. It just doesn't work. It's much like, imagine if you were a musician, you're in a band and you went to some other band's live gig, and there was like 200 people there. And they're playing and they're having a great time, and you kick open the door and you're like, hey, by the way, we're totally musicians as well, and you know, we've got a gig going on across the road. You guys should all come and check it out. That would be super rude, and most people are probably going to get annoyed because they're there to see the other band, and you know, you don't even know these guys. So how does this translate to YouTube? I would suggest something that worked for me is going to other content creators' videos, watching the videos, being an active member, getting into the comments, but commenting about things that are about the content that that creator is making, not about your channel, making it abundantly obvious that you are an active member and an active participant. And if you have a popular comment, people are going to be more likely to click on your comment and go through to your channel if your profile picture is as polished as it can be and makes it clear that you are yourself a creator. And if your channel name makes it clear that, again, it's a channel with content and not just a personal account, those two things can be, you know, very, very helpful in getting people to click through on comments and come to your channel and visit your channel. If you get the opportunity, if you've built up a relationship and a rapport with that community, then you can, you know, you can introduce the fact that you're a creator perhaps more forthrightly. But I would only suggest doing that after you've made it very, very clear that you aren't there to spam, you're an active member in that community. So that's tip number 5. Truly engage with other communities. Don't fake it. Be a real member of that community. Make some friendships. You know, express a similar interest, find some common ground, and then introduce people over to what you're creating. That was the most successful way that I found of pushing out my content and also pulling people in. So that is my 5 top tips based on my experience on reaching 1,000 subscribers. I hope that you find this information helpful in some way, or if not, at least entertaining and a bit of fun. So I have absolutely nowhere I'm allowed to be for the next few weeks at the very least. So my schedule currently involves looking at these 4 walls and playing copious amounts of Final Fantasy VII Remake. So somewhere in that remarkably busy and exciting schedule, I am going to be playing around with the camera a bit more, uploading some videos. And if you're still out there and still around, I know some of you are, we can continue having some of that good fun that we were having. If this video has found its way into the hands of a new viewer, I hope you have enjoyed it and you might like to stick around and hit the subscribe button. Otherwise, guys, stay safe and I will see you around. Take care. Right, where are we? Hey. What is happening?